in a funny way, I think he's doing what Joe Biden did in 2020, which is sticking to the basement.
Governor, we had Caroline Leavitt on the other day, and she said that Trump will be out and about every day until Election Day, which is not anything out of the normal for him. But a basement campaign? What do you make of that?
Well, that's the dumbest thing Chris Wallace has ever said, and he said a lot of dumb things over the course of his career. That may take the cake. This is insane. These people are so filled with Trump derangement syndrome that they cannot get themselves to just look at things objectively. And they have so disgraced any level of respect that we would ever have for people in the media who are out there on the left that it just defies imagination. Look, Donald Trump has been out on the trail every single day. He answers question after question from the most hostile reporters. I don't blame him for not wanting to go on 60 Minutes. What a joke. They're going to edit all the comments. They'll never release the full transcript like they did with Kamala because they don't want to embarrass her. And if they interview him, they'll edit it so that it looks bad no matter what he says. But I love it when he goes on platforms like he did with the Bloomberg nut the other day. I mean, he schooled him, burned him, left him in ashes. There was nothing left. And the crowd loved it and gave him a standing ovation. This is the Donald Trump we're voting for. This is the Donald Trump that's going to be the next president and that will get us out of this hellhole that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have put us in.
Yeah, the crowd in very blue Chicago loved it. You could hear them cheering throughout the entire time for Donald Trump. We just heard from Congressman James Comer in the last hour, who said he firmly believes Donald Trump will win all of the battleground states after seeing the momentum swing in his direction over just the last 10 days, most notably looking at that NBC News poll where Kamala Harris had a 5-point lead exactly 1 month ago, and now they are tied. What are you noticing with this campaign in the home stretch?
Well, typically these polls tend to undersample Republicans and oversample Democrats. I think they're also hard to gauge because a lot of people are never going to tell a pollster that they're voting for Trump,
right?
Because they don't know who's on the other end of that telephone. They may feel that if they say, yeah, I'm voting for Trump, the next thing there'll be something burning in their yard and people will be throwing rocks through the window. These are some crazy people out there. So I don't think the polls are going to accurately reflect it. I think we're going to look at a poll that is more like 2016 when the polls showed Donald Trump didn't have a chance. Well, it turned out he won. And all those balloons Hillary had in the that Brooklyn Center, they just didn't get to use them that night. Maybe they're still all blown up and ready to go. I don't know. But I think we're going to see Trump winning. Look, I'm not getting over my nervousness about it because I still am very concerned about an absolutely fair and free and completely upfront election. The mail-in ballots still worry me to death in some states where they don't really have control over them. But I think if this is a really straight-up election, Donald Trump wins handily.
Yeah, and it's so important for people to vote. A lot of times, sometimes people will stay home and think, oh, all right, he's going to win. I don't need to go and vote. But it's so important. Harris appeared with Charlemagne the God yesterday as part of her last-ditch media blitz. But she's sticking to the same old tired script. Take a listen.
As it relates to the economy, which is a lot of what you have addressed. Look, I grew up in the middle class. My mother, worked hard, raised me and my sister, and by the time I was in high school, she was able to afford our first home. I know what it means for an individual and a family to have home ownership. I also know, in the context of history, nobody got 40 acres and a mule.
Okay, we all know she grew up in a middle class. SNL knows that she grew up in a middle class. They made fun of her. So, I always think about what's going on behind the scenes. Is her team saying, Madam Vice President, maybe you shouldn't say that. Maybe she's not listening. Do you think voters have caught on? Do you think that they're even listening to her anymore?
I don't know how they could, because if they are, they're hearing the same broken record. I've never seen a candidate who was so lacking in originality, nor a candidate who spoke with such authority on things she hasn't not a clue over. This is a person who's never signed the front of a paycheck. Her only jobs have been government jobs. She's never run a business. She's never had a successful political career. She's never, let me put it this way. I've had millions of more votes for president than Kamala Harris ever had. She's never been voted on, even in a primary.
Great point.
She never made it to the show. And I'm just thinking, this is the person the Democrats have put forth there's their nominee, and she's never gone through a single primary. That's just incredible to me.